Hi, I'm Mirriam, and this is Trials and Errors, a show where we aim to demystify the justice system, so we can teach you how to fight those Twitter trolls and those Facebook fanatics. I'm going to be making shorwa, which literally means soup in Pashto, which is my native language from Afghanistan. You don't have to say what kind of soup this is. This is the soup. We literally just call it shorwa. Today we're going to be talking about RICO, conspiracy, and the capital seditionists. I'm using oxtail today because that's what I had at home. Nice aroma to them, you can smell them, then you want to start adding your spices. Come on, let's go. So normally what I do is I eat my food on camera and I tell you how great it is and I tell you to make the recipe. But it was kind of awkward to eat bread soup on camera, so I ate it off camera and now I'm gonna drink my coffee. Click the link down below and subscribe to my cooking channel called Afghan Cooks. And we release a recipe every week on Thursdays. So this is part one of our brand new series called Think Like a Prosecutor. I was a prosecutor for the beginning of my legal career. It was all I ever wanted to do. It was my dream. But then I woke up and I realized that that was a really, really, really bad dream. Bad Mirriam. So then I switched sides and I came to the light and became a defense attorney. But I still know how prosecutors think because that's who we deal with every day in our jobs. I want to talk about RICO. So first we talk about how does a prosecutor get a case? Well, there are a number of ways. It could start from a tip that someone gives them. Someone could have been the victim of a crime, say for example a bank robbery. Maybe there's a murder that involves some sort of interstate travel or commerce. Maybe it's a sex trafficking ring, but not usually. The other way is they know of a crime that's happened because, for example, it's on TV and it's videotaped, and then people see that a crime is being committed. Say, for example, what happened on January 6th at the Capitol. That happened live on TV. So we know that something happened on that day. The question is, what is it? And why at this point have prosecutors only charged people with relatively minor crimes when we know that one police officer died and that I think something like 140 were injured? Prosecutors in general don't like to let people get away with killing law enforcement. If they kill one of us and they can't figure it out, c'est la vie. But police officers, they're gonna find out and they're gonna charge someone. In this case, there's a lot to wade through. I mean, there were thousands of people there that day. While they can pinpoint some of the people, some of them who took selfies or videotaped themselves, it's really hard to sift through all of that video footage and figure out who did what. Prosecutors have a bunch of different tools at their disposal. Once the investigators, whether it's the FBI or the Secret Service or ATF or DEA or whoever it is, that they can use then once the investigation is complete to charge people. Right now what we're seeing is pretty low-level charges. Last week, 2 people were charged with a conspiracy, 2 men who are part of the Proud Boys, and I think 3 who are part of the Oath Keepers. And if you haven't been paying attention, these are white supremacist organizations. And a lot of questions have been raised about, well, why isn't anyone charged with this murder yet? And will they be charged, for example, with felony murder? Now, once their investigation is complete and the file lands on the prosecutor's desk, then the prosecutor decides, what do we bring to the grand jury? What are we going to charge these people with? And overall, I don't think this is the end of it. I think that there will be more charges forthcoming. A prosecutor doesn't just have one shot to indict someone. they can have 2 superseding indictments or 3. I mean, I've had cases where they've had 9 or 10. So they can keep adding people, they can keep adding charges. So these are all moving objects, okay? So a case isn't static. It's not charge and then you're done. Prosecutors in larger cases will continue to investigate even after a defense attorney has been involved. You start preparing your defense, you go through the discovery. They will continue to investigate. There are a few charges that prosecutors could bring here. Could they bring seditious conspiracy charges? I say yes. And I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago, and if you watch till the end, it will be on the end card. You can find out why I think they could charge seditious conspiracy. Why I think they won't is because we don't have a lot of sedition prosecutions in America. I think successfully we've had a couple in the past couple of decades. So that's a little bit harder for them to put together. Could they charge just a conspiracy? Sure, absolutely. And again, if you wait till the end, I've done a video on conspiracy as well. And you can find out what the parameters are and what the elements are of conspiracy. If prosecutors really want to get to the heart of what happened on January 6th, if they're really serious about making sure nothing like that happens again, if they want to reach what they consider the ends of justice, which is making sure that the appropriate people are punished, that they deter people from doing this in the future, they might want to charge RICO. RICO is the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. We know about RICO primarily because it was the tool used by none other than Rudy Giuliani to bring down the mafia. And it was designed to do exactly that. If you read the statute, which is 18 USC 1962, and then click on the links if you go online, it's really super handy. You can click on all the definitions to get to what racketeering is. And what you'll see is that racketeering really was designed for the mafia because it includes things like illegal gambling, sex trafficking, fraud using interstate commerce. So it really, if you look at it, labor unions and payments, illegal payments to labor unions. So it really was designed for the mafia. And then as time went on and we were more and more interested in arresting more and more people, they included all of the substance abuse crimes, meaning drug crimes. So this is how they charge people with these drug conspiracies, right? Instead of just charging a regular conspiracy or just charging people with possessing drugs, they charge them with having an enterprise. And we'll get to what an enterprise is in a second. They've also included, because then we came upon, a third group of people that we wanted to take down, which was international terrorism. So specifically in there are crimes that deal with international terrorism, like chemical weapons and nuclear devices, passports, illegal use of passports or fraudulent passports, illegal naturalization papers, things along those lines. So those were the 3 groups it was made for. What RICO was not made for was for white domestic terrorists, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. There's nothing in there that would particularly pinpoint any of the things that happened on January 6th, which I think is a little bit crazy. And I think it's because nobody ever thought anything like this would ever happen in America. That stuff happens elsewhere. If the government wants to take down a white domestic terrorist organization, it has to use, if you look at my other video on domestic terrorism, you'll see they have to use other statutes to do that. So how would they use RICO if it's not designed for this? What is an enterprise? An enterprise is anything. It could be anything. It could be any group of people as long as you can give it like a title or like it's got to be a separate entity from the people involved. So if you and your friends get together and you decide to rob a bank, right? Or sell drugs, and you don't have rules or regulations or a way to split up your income or, any of those things, you don't have matching tattoos, you don't have meetings or dues or any of those things, you're lucky. You're just a regular old everyday conspiracy. If you call yourself something like super cool califragilistic people who rob banks, now you've got some RICO issues. The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and other organizations like that, that would be the enterprise. And for racketeering, Anything you do, directly or indirectly, to further the goals of that enterprise, whatever the goals of that are, is RICO. How would they get there if there's not anything really on point right now? And that's why we're waiting. That's why these people have been charged with almost nothing, even though so many people were injured and people died. One of the crimes enumerated is selling stolen property across state lines or interstate commerce. And we know that one young woman stole a laptop and allegedly tried to sell it to the Russians. She was released. Another thing that they used for the mafia primarily, or for drug conspiracies, was intimidating witnesses. So if they let this go on for long enough, at some point, someone's probably going to say, snitches get stitches. We know that they've gotten a lot of people's internet data, websites they've searched, places they've gone on the internet. We don't know if they've potentially got wiretaps, search warrants. We have no idea at this point what sort of cases these prosecutors are building. And we won't know until people actually get charged with more crimes. This sort of fervor of, why aren't people being charged? Why aren't people being charged? It comes from not understanding how the process works. I don't want to make it seem like RICO is some easy throwaway charge. It should not be used in every case. It wasn't designed to be used in every case, right? It wasn't designed to just put a bunch of black men or Muslim men and women in prison. But that's how it is used. It would not surprise me at all if the government decides to use it now, considering the change of tides and the change of demographics, and we can see that our country is changing, that they would use it against neo-Nazi groups as well. I think that there's a huge push to continue to use the statutes that are in place to charge these people. I, of course, don't know. Prosecutors don't tell me anything. Shocking. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these cases get larger and larger as time goes on. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. The way that we get into your homepage is if you hit that notification icon. Then you'll know when we release a video, which we do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you could, be so kind, subscribe. It's free. Bye. See you Wednesday.